Wonderful story.
Yeah, we started like a small joke,
Hmm.
but a very serious joke. Very serious joke. Because why it was a small joke?
Uh,
The orientation.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember way back in even 1983, in the middle of the war,
Hmm.
we held a workshop at Makerere University. And I was presenting a new thinking about the Uganda we want, what kind of vision we hold and whatever.
Yeah.
And one professor uh, said, wait a minute, you are repetitively talking about vision or something like that. Are you starting a new religion or something? Because the word vision was not popularly used. Because essentially people were looking at why we're at war, our problem is war, our problem is poverty, our problem.
Yeah, all
it
problems.
was, yeah, it was all about problem.
Yeah.
And here is this guy, very young by then, and you are talking about the future, and they say you are not being realistic. Because there is this sense of realism being very pushed.
Yeah. Right.
Then I'm telling them, it's real that we have gravity. And certainly I can't fly. But scientists using technology have defied gravity.
That's right.
So what do you mean about being realistic? So therefore we introduced what we call now technologies for thinking. And many people are not paying attention. For example, when I talk about this structural tension is a scientific thing.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
right.
a mystery.
Right.
Yeah, when you have two elements in relation to each other, you create a structure. When you separate two elements and they are still related, you create a structural tension. And in physics, tension will always want to resolve itself. And how does it resolve? You can move towards your vision or you can lower your vision. That's simple science. But because they are using the word rather than the concept, so they get stuck. Because it is not in a day-to-day usage. Yeah.
Right.
So that's why it was small joke, but
Yeah.
very profound.
Yeah.
Because then you start bringing in a new thinking. Like I was giving you a simple story of boiling water.
Yeah.
It
that's
looks
right.
so simple,
Yeah.
but people don't do it. Why? Because we don't pay attention to other elements that making boiling water actually possible.
You are expanding the thinking. Isn't it?
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the way the whole art of questioning in this. You are questioning continuously. So where is it coming from?
Exactly.
What is the meaning of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why when you use this inquiry,
Yeah.
when you are in the inquiry, you don't have the answer. Eh? You are asking questions so that people start reflecting,
Yeah.
and then they figure it out.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is happening? Is there any similarity to some other things you have seen, you have experienced in life?
Right.
To me, designing an integrated program, and this was my thinking about how extension service. You know extension work? Yeah.
In
Extension,
fact, is this an example of, this is just how kind of clarify kind of my understanding, is this an example of how the tension had resolved for you?
yeah.
Okay.
It is an example of what is my vision out there. What am I living with?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. And therefore, how do I move from where I am to the realization of what I want? And when you ask many people, why are the poor poor? You know what they tell you? Because they don't plan. It's not true. They plan every hour, but they don't have a context. And that's what the power of vision. And when we are discussing strategic planning, it's looking at the end results and where you are and what key results or strategic objectives must be in place. That's how you resolve the tension. But what they forget is that once you start a movement towards your vision, your reality changes. Now, traditionally, in evaluation, people want to evaluate in relation to where you started rather than to where you are.
That's right.
Are you aware of that? Yeah, because that is the blueprint approach.
Yeah.
Where did you start?
Yeah.
But the reality has changed.
Yeah.
Here is where I am.
Yeah.
Am I moving towards my results? How far am I? Rather than where did you begin, which is history. So
Yeah.
we dwell so much in history
Yeah.
rather than the present and the future. The present and the future. Because your realities are changing every time.
I'm very interested in knowing, related to your structural tension that you felt, that you were in activism and you went to prison, and then you said at one point you took a choice, made a choice
Yeah.
of rather than going that path, because the whole national and even regional movement was towards
Struggle with the guns for liberation.
Yeah,
for-
liberation.
Yeah.
And what inspired that choice? How did there would have been a tension maybe at that moment?
I think essentially, when I was also in prison, I started thinking very seriously about the multi-pronged approach to a solution. Because I had noticed that from the 60s, we have used violence to change regimes. But what we end up with is the substitution of a black pot for a black kettle. Then you go through the same circles. Then that one also has to be overthrown to bring in another person. So I figured out that the missing link is we are creating change using coercive means without changing the mindset of the people you are working with. So therefore, if the community does not change, okay, the overthrow and the guns and the battles are going to remain in few hands. Then the communities are just the passengers. And that's why I said no. If we are going to have lasting change, let us change how people think and how people actually own the change. And that is through negotiations, through discussion, through also making money for themselves. Because it is no secret in Africa, if you find the people who joined the liberation, what they so-called liberation, essentially are the poor and the youth.
And the youth.
Who have nothing to lose and who have nothing to live for. But they are acting on the basis of a promise that if you fought and won, you will become like that one. But can't I become like that one without fighting?
Yes.
And that's why the issue of increasing and supporting the rural economy is very, very important. So that if I have my money in the pocket, certainly you can't buy my vote. And you can't buy it cheaply. But now our people are selling their votes very cheaply because they're at the practical needs level.
Yeah.
The vote as a strategic power, they haven't reached it there. So I say that's why we are going through these circles. Because the power is concentrated among the few. They want to leave the majority poor because that is the recruitment pool. And if you want peace in the country, destroy that recruitment pool by empowering them economically.
Wow. Wow.